the Virginia Living Museum in Newport News, Virginia, and here's what we're doing to preserve Deer Park Lake and the surrounding watershed.
It's early on a Sunday morning when volunteers Casey and Deborah Oakley gear up to clean up trash.
When we first come out, we try and look around, assess the situation, see how high the water is. She sits in the front of the canoe. I do a lot of the paddling. She does a lot of the netting. Parts it's deep and other parts it's not deep, and you can actually see the cans and the trash laying on the bottom. And plastic. So much plastic. Bag it all up, and we try and do an estimate of weight every week and give that so that we know approximately how much trash that we're collecting out of the waterway and the land section per week. Prove time and time again with the turtles when they get plastic and think that it's food and it's their demise. It kills them. So every little bit.
It's vital that we keep the bay clean, and in order to do that, it's vital that we keep the watershed that supplies the bay clean. So the museum is trying to do that in a number of different ways. We look at our riparian buffer zone. We try to maintain native plantings along the shoreline for the wildlife and to filter all the water that's coming into the bay. Through our conservation garden, we encourage people to find alternatives to the pesticide use and the fertilizer use that eventually runs off and pollutes the bay. One of the goals of the conservation garden is to teach people that see it, teach visitors, how they can implement some of these gardening, bay-friendly gardening techniques in their own yard.
The first thing we'll look at is the living roof. The worst thing really for the Chesapeake Bay right now is the stormwater runoff that's coming off our yards and streets. It carries nutrients and oil and all kinds of stuff with it. Anything you can do to reduce that is key. And that's what green roofs do. They reduce almost entirely the stormwater runoff from your home. So instead of having it rush off your asphalt shingles into the street gutters, it's soaked up by the soil on the roof. So that's one important thing it does. Another simple thing you can do is add rain barrels to your house. How does that help the bay? Well, again, it reduces stormwater runoff because it keeps that water from going into the bay and picking up pollutants on the way. Instead, it's going right into your rain barrel and used right on your site to water plants. This is a new thing that we're looking at now. It's called a Pondless Waterfall, and a lot of houses now have these neat ponds in their backyard with fountains. But this is a little bit different twist that ends up helping the bay even more. It has a pond, but it's underneath the ground. There's sort of a hidden reservoir under there, and it gets its water from the stormwater off this roof. So instead of, again, all that stormwater going into the rivers, off the concrete and carrying pollutants with it, it's now being captured in a little drainage pond underneath here, and then it pumps it up to make a decorative feature. So we're saving stormwater, making it beautiful, and reducing its impact on the bay. One of the first things we did out here to make this area bay friendly was we had asphalt walkways for the visitors to walk on, which are pretty typical. But what they do is pond up water and feed it into the bay, and again, that's one of its biggest issues. So we replaced all those asphalt walkways with these paver systems. What they do is allow stormwater, rainwater, when it comes down, to percolate through them and into the ground slowly, instead of storming off in a sheet into the gutter and into the bay.
Ultimately, it's up to each one of us to make a difference. Our job at the Virginia Living Museum is to raise awareness of the importance of this big project. We want everybody involved. People are only going to want to do something about it if they understand the importance. And we're out here hopefully to teach people how important the bay is and how they can make a personal difference.